Today, we're diving into George Bernard Shaw's incredible play, Candida. We're stepping right into what looks like a perfect London home. You know, the kind with domestic bliss, public success, and total moral certainty. But, well, that perfect world is about to get completely turned upside down.
At the very heart of this whole story is one single provocative question. What actually happens when a so-called perfect marriage is suddenly faced with an impossible choice? What happens when all that security gets challenged by raw vulnerability?
And this whole conflict plays out between just three people: a really powerful and beloved preacher, his seemingly perfect wife, and this fragile young poet who just kind of wanders into their lives and threatens to tear their whole world apart.
Okay, so to really get the drama that's about to unfold, we first have to understand the man at the center of it all, the Reverend James Morrell. Morrell is, without a doubt, the absolute center of his own universe. He's a Christian socialist, which means he believed that socialist ideas were a core part of Christianity, and he is just booming with confidence. Shaw describes him as vigorous and popular. Basically, he's a pillar of strength and moral authority, both in his own mind and in the eyes of pretty much everyone who follows him.
And seriously, make no mistake, this guy is not a quiet preacher. His schedule is absolutely packed with lectures for radical clubs and socialist federations. I mean, look at this list. Morrell is a man of huge public importance who genuinely believes he is changing the world for the better, one powerful speech at a time.
Now, in his private life, his marriage to his wife, Candida, is the sacred foundation of his happy, successful world. He sees her as this prize, the source of all his strength. And listen to the way he says it, my Candida. Yeah, there's love there for sure, but there's also this deep sense of ownership, an unshakable certainty that this is his perfect life.
So, into this perfectly structured world of sermons and busy schedules, a totally disruptive force arrives. And his name is Eugene Marchbanks.
Eugene Marchbanks is basically everything Morrell is not. He's this shy 18-year-old aristocrat with the soul of a poet, who Morrell, in a moment of Christian charity, literally rescued from the streets. And here's the kicker. He returns to the house, not with Morrell, but with Morrell's wife, Candida.
The contrast between them couldn't be more stark. I mean, you've got Morrell, the confident 40-year-old master of his world, versus Marchbanks, this timid, idealistic teenager who is a total stranger in it. One is all about action and speeches, the other is all about poetry and feelings. And Shaw puts these two complete opposites on a collision course for the very same woman.
So, as you can probably imagine, it does not take long for that simmering tension to just explode into an open confrontation. It's basically a declaration of war right there on Morrell's home turf.
And there it is, just like that. No subtlety, no hesitation. Marchbanks, the shy, timid kid, looks this powerful preacher in the eye and hits him with three simple, devastating words. He's not just confessing his feelings, he's throwing down a challenge, attacking the very foundation of Morrell's entire life.
But Marchbanks' attack goes so much deeper than just some romantic rivalry. He basically accuses Morrell of starving Candida's soul with nothing but empty sermons and, as he calls it, mere rhetoric. He's claiming that Morrell, in his own self-satisfaction, has absolutely no idea who his wife truly is or what she really needs.
So what does Morrell do? His response is just pure wounded pride. For maybe the first time in his life, his confidence is completely shattered. He can't argue or preach his way out of this one. His only move is to fall back on his authority as master of the house. But it really feels like an act of desperation, not strength.
But hey, this is George Bernard Shaw we're talking about, so things are never that simple. Instead of just physically throwing the poet out, Morrell, who's been stung right to his core, makes this bizarre and incredibly risky gamble. See, Morrell realizes that a victory by brute force, well, that's not a victory at all. The accusation has been made that Candida would choose someone else if she were actually free to do so. So, in this really shocking move, he decides to call the poet's bluff and put his entire marriage to the ultimate test. And the way he sets up this test is just masterful. First, he cancels his big lecture, showing how upset he is. Then, he dramatically reverses his decision, reasserting his public importance. And then the final blow. He commands Candida to stay home with Eugene, deliberately leaving them completely alone for the whole evening. He tries to frame it as this act of supreme confidence, right? A big show of how unafraid he is. But is he? Or is this the most terrifying gamble of his life?
an admission that he has no other way to prove his wife actually loves him. He basically just hands the choice and his entire future right over to Candida.
And that sets the stage for the play's brilliant climax. The battle of words between the preacher and the poet, it's over. All the power now shifts entirely to the woman they both claim to love.
For the first time in this whole story, Candida isn't just some prize to be won. Nope, she is the judge. Both men have made their cases, and now they just have to stand there and wait for her verdict. The power is completely and finally in her hands.
So what is she actually choosing between here? On one side, you have Morel. He's offering strength, security, a public life. He's the man who will protect her. On the other side, you have Marchbanks. He offers his weakness, his total devotion, a world of poetry. He's the man who needs her protection. It's a choice between two completely different kinds of love.
And this is exactly why this play is still so powerful today. Shaw takes this simple little love triangle and turns it into this profound question about what a real partnership even means. Is love being with someone who makes you feel safe, or is it being with someone who makes you feel necessary?
And that right there is the ultimate question the play forces all of us, and Candida, to answer. The final choice isn't really about who's better or stronger or more deserving. It's about a much deeper, more complicated truth. Who is actually the weaker one here? Who truly needs her more? And that is the secret that Candida, and only Candida, understands.